Live from our studios here at Kukumlemle in Accra, this is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Kojo Manu. Coming up, government rubbishes allegations that GNPC is causing financial loss to the state in its gas supply deal with Gensa Energy.
The agreement between GNPC and Gensa, which is the subject of public interest, I think that it is important we understand it. Some of the headlines you read are not factual.
We have details as the ranking member of the Mines and Energy Committee says the committee needs more information before they can back the deal.
Too early for the minister to draw such conclusions. We've had serious issues, especially with capacity charges, with payments that we are making when we are not consuming all the pipeline charges.
Judges urge judiciary to take a strong stance against illegal mining to save Ghana's water bodies. We have details as Aisha Wang is denied bail yet again. Also, heavy mining activities ongoing in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve in the Western region, despite claims by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry that no license has been issued for minerals prospecting anywhere in Ghana.
My district is Amansett Central. That is where I have my cocoa farm. In that area, there's a forest called Kobo Forest. The forest is guarded by soldiers as people mine inside the forest.
Also coming up, cases of COVID-19 and monkeypox increased in the last 2 weeks. Health authorities raised concerns about the threat it poses to the sector.
But then what is worrying is that as at about 2-3 weeks, we were just getting about 1 or 2 cases a day, and our active cases was 20 or 10. But within this space of 2 weeks, our cases have started rising. In fact, this is 288, but as at yesterday's data that I have, it's now 350 active cases.
Hello again, thanks for choosing us. Now, government is fighting back accusations that state oil company GNPC has caused financial loss to the state to the tune of 1.5 billion cedis. Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee interrogated GNPC management over a gas supply deal with Gensa Energy, which has been criticized as causing financial loss to the state. According to civil society groups Imani Africa and the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, Ghana buys gas for $95.8 million and sells to Gensa at $43.5 million. Now, I'll give you details emerging from a meeting between the Mines and Energy Committee and GNPC and government. But first, this is what we know so far about the deal as far as the work done by GNPC, well, Imani and ASAP is concerned. So Imani says careful work by analysis, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, and of course Imani has revealed that Gensa operating profits may be heavily dependent on Sweetheart's public and unpublicized deal that has been signed between the GNPC, whereas it pays a fixed rate of 2.79 MMBTU, that's the metric million British thermal unit, for the natural gas it gives from the Ghana Oil Company. So the civil society groups insist that, well, the company over the last 15 years has done so well, but a lot of its profit is attributable to the state, to the Ghanaian state, and that they are making profit at our expense. So how did we get here? Well, GNPC says Imani Africa and ASEP actually says that there's some evidence to suggest that GNPC's Sweetheart deal came after attempts to woo Ghana Gas, the national gas company, and Gensa had been less successful. So they started from the Ghana Gas Company, but after unsuccessful attempts, went straight to the GNPC and logged a deal. Now, the potential losses to the country are on the order of $1.5 billion over the life of the contract, or $100 million per year. So what do we know about Gensa? We are an energy solution provider based in USA with operations in Africa. We currently operate in Ghana and also have early stage projects in Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and we are actively seeking to expand our operations across the African continent. This is what you find on the website of Gensa Energy when you go there. It says, we build, own and operate distributed generation installations and natural gas distribution infrastructure, selling power and natural gas to mines, industries and utilities. So it has all those details on its website when you go there, talking about its operations. Now, this is what Vice President of Imani Africa, Bright Simon, said when he first made the revelation about this deal.
In 2018 April, Ghana Gas decided to do a transaction with a company called Gensa in Ghana. Ghana Gas holds Ghana's gas in trust and sells it to do business on our behalf. So they were going to give them gas, they were going to put it in their power plants, they were then going to sell power to big mines and some cement companies. It's as simple as that. The price that was negotiated was dependent on whether or not this company had to be classified as an industrial consumer or as a non-industrial consumer. But whatever it be, it will have been between $7.3 for every unit of the gas and $6.5 for every unit of the gas. That was what Ghana Gas was going to do. So Ghana Gas then wrote to the Energy Commission to try and understand these people that they are dealing with, this company. Do they have a bulk license? Can they be a waiver? Because the company kept insisting that they want the gas cheaper. And then the Energy Commission said, no, there's nothing we see here that should lead us to do any discount. So sell it to them the way everybody else is buying. You know what they do? They then decide that, okay, if Ghana Gas is going to prove whatever, okay, we just go to GNPC, which at that time, because of changes in policy, was the main gas aggregator in the country. It collects most of the gas on our behalf. Can you believe that? GNPC did 2 contracts with them. The first contract in 2020, and then they changed the contract in 2021. And eventually, the amount that they are selling the gas for is $0.57. And then there's a processing tariff, and then the pipeline tariff and things like that, which I don't want to go into the detail, but all of it, if you add up, does not get above $1.7. This was something that just 2 years or a year and something half ago, another Ghana government-owned company was willing to sell for between $6.5. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you didn't know anything about these numbers, you can look at what are the price of gas during that period in the world. There's a place in Louisiana where we call the Henry Hub, a hub called the Henry Hub. And that place is, has a pipeline, and a lot of the transactions on the New York Mercantile Exchange. And that's where they get the pricing from, because people that buy it is the third most actively traded location. So when you get prices there, you can use it in your own transaction all over the world.
But the Deputy Minister for Energy, Mohammed Amin Adam, who spoke to journalists after the meeting, said the CSOs are misleading the country with their claims.
The agreement between GNPC and Gensa, which is the subject of public interest, I think that it is important we understand it. Some of the headlines you read are not factual, and they do not help. When you have done analysis, so-called independent analysis, you need to put it against the facts. And the only way you can get the facts is to talk to the institutions that are involved. Otherwise, it can be misleading, and people will form an opinion on misleading statements. And this is why I am very happy that Parliament has shown interest in this. Our Parliament is a very responsive Parliament, and the Committee of Parliament, the Mines and Energy Committee, has met with GNPC and the Ministry of Energy, who provided all the answers they want for the questions relating to the allegations that have been made by Imani and Asset. And we know that they are going to scrutinize this agreement, and the questions we have answered, the answers are going to be put to test. And then in due course, the nation will be informed as to whether what we did is in the interest of our country. Such headlines can be misleading. When you say that Ghana is losing 1.5 billion, and the analysis doesn't support that, then you are misleading the public. And so it is important you talk to the agency involved so that they will open the books to you. And GNPC is ready. They are available to open the books to whoever has concerns about that agreement. The fact that they are here explaining to Parliament, means that they are not afraid to open the books. Parliament is a representative of the people. And so if we can open the books to Parliament, why not the public?
Misleading. That's the conclusion of the Energy Ministry on this deal. We'll be speaking shortly to the Executive Secretary of the Africa Center, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boakye, there on your screen. But before we come to Ben Boakye, the minority spokesperson on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, says it's too early for government to seek to clear GNPC of any wrongdoing.
Just had a very long session with GNPC. We've asked a lot of questions, interrogations. Some have been answered, some are pending. We've asked for some information that they couldn't provide at the meeting. And so we have directed that GNPC should make all those informations available to us. The financial analysis underpinning the agreement, the analysis in terms of the investment decisions. We're also aware that Ghana Gas is deeply involved. And so we've decided that we ought to summon Ghana Gas to also appear before us. I'm clear in my mind that there are some institutional overlaps and there are some turf war issues that ought to be addressed with. And so clearly, the committee would interrogate this matter to its logical conclusion. Our duty is to ensure that we get to the bottom of it. Our duty is to ensure that the state is not shortchanged. And I can assure you that we will do everything within our capacity to get to the bottom of this matter and to ensure that the ordinary taxpayer is safeguarded. And so it's too early for the minister to draw such conclusions.
Let's go now and speak to Ben Boakye, who is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Thank you very much, Mr. Boakye, for your time here on Joining News Prime. So we spoke to the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, Atachia, who described your work as too adversarial because you failed to capture the response of GNPC in your analysis. Let's start with that. How do you respond to that?
No, I think, thank you, first of all. I don't know whether I'm the only one who got the impression that, the Honorable Member of Parliament and the Honorable Minister were just reading headlines and not the analysis that was done. And because they kept referring to headlines and not the data, the hard-core numbers that were generated based on the contract that has been signed. Unless GNPC denounces the contract, it is up to anybody who can do basic analysis to pick that contract and analyze the contract without going for peer review from GNPC. And that's essentially what we have been doing. Civil society has been doing this, saving the country billions. Go back to many contracts that we have intervened on. So, it's a suggestion, but we have not erred in the way we work, and we will continue to protect the public interest doing the kind of analysis that we do.
His point about misleading the public is the fact that you did not seek further clarity from GNPC in doing your work. Would that be correct?
No, but GNPC can always clarify. It's a public conversation, all right? It's a national interest we are looking for. If GNPC has any clarification, they would have come up with it in the public. And I dare say that they are struggling to do that. I've seen a presentation they made to Parliament today, and it's laughable that Parliament seems to think that that was convincing. Because that is contrary to what is even in the contract that they have signed with GENSA. And I would have wished that, the minister and the honorable members would have compared the presentation that they did to what is written black and white in the contract. And what does the contract says? You have a contract that says that they're going to sell gas to GENSA for 2.79. And at the time they signed the contract, the market price for gas, which has been approved by a regulator, there is only one regulator in the industry, PRC, was 6.08. So the gap there is about 3.29. It is not difficult to calculate that. If you multiply that by the contract period, by estimating the discount that they are providing, you arrive at the numbers that we are putting out. It's not difficult to do, all right? So it's interesting why anybody would say we are misleading the public without generating their own numbers, multiplying the discount by the volumes of gas that we are going to give to GENSA over the period. And what is even curious is that it is the same gas that Ghana Gas was selling to the same company, GENSA, at $6.5 per MMBTU. How does GNPC get into an arrangement to use the same pipeline and sell the gas at 2.79?
Now, Mr. Boakye, beyond what you find on the face of the contract as causing financial loss to the state, do you find certain individuals, state actors, complicit in this who are directly benefiting from this deal? Is that something you have unearthed?
I mean, we wouldn't rule that out. And from what I'm hearing, it tells you that it goes beyond even GNPC. We may have to look at, complicity with, government officials beyond GNPC in this matter. Because you can't meet GNPC 2 hours and not go into the contract itself. They do a presentation and present justifications that are different from what is in the agreement, and Parliament says it is okay with that.
Which government officials, can you put names to these individuals you suspect may be behind this?
No, we don't have any names, but I think, government coming out to support this, they will have to keep justifying and who were the elements that approved this transaction. On the face of the contract, you know that the chief executive of GNPC approved it. There were letters that were flying from the ministry initially taking Ghana Gas off the transaction, disallowing them from selling to power companies, for which reason GNPC took up the responsibility and discounted the gas for Gensa. So there are a lot of things to unpack from that angle to actually see who is complicit in this. But the bare truth of the matter is that if you read the agreement, page 8, you can go look at it. It tells you that they are discounting the gas, all right, by 3.2. If I can be even more specific with the agreement, it says that it's discounted by 3.29 for the existing infrastructure. Right. When they extend the pipeline to other areas, they further discount the gas by 4.36. And these are in the contract.
Right.
So why is Parliament
But Mr. Boakye, already we are seeing government put up a defense to this. Parliament is also looking into the issue. What will you do as civil society? You work with Imani on this. What are you willing to do?
They called the media into the room, right? And you had the opportunity to interview them. And I think that is where the questions could have come much more specific on what discounts, are they giving?
Well, this was a closed session. We only had the opportunity to speak to the actors after the meeting.
So I think the conversation has just started then, and we need to interrogate them further for them to come clean on the numbers that we are seeing. Because it doesn't really make sense for us to discount the commodity that we are buying at a premium. The same GNPC is buying gas at $10 per MMBTU. And they had to sacrifice the royalties of Ghana. They had to sacrifice their own participating interest to be able to bring down the cost of the gas, to achieve the $6.08 per MMBTU. Mm-hmm. How then do you discount the gas for a competitor of other state agencies? Because mind you, you have VRA also generating power with gas at 6.08. And then we give gas to a private company at 2.79. How does VRA compete with such a company? And that is why they have lost all their contracts with the mines.
But have you put this analysis before the Mines and Energy Committee?
I didn't catch that.
Have you given your presentation, your analysis of this deal? Have you presented it to Parliament?
We haven't had the opportunity to meet Parliament. They invited GNPC and accused civil society of not consulting. They could have also consulted if they really wanted to even understand the analysis that we did.
And so you're willing to make an appearance? You're willing to make an appearance if an invitation is extended?
We're happy to appear. But beyond that, it is our duty to engage the citizens of Ghana to show that over the contract period, they are going to cost this country $1.5 billion as a subsidy for the private company. If you look at the total damage that they are causing the whole industry, that even goes to about $3.6 billion, because GNPC itself, in its proposal to PRC, says that the actual cost of gas should be 7.9. And this is black and white in their own document.
Right.
So if GNPC believes that the cost of gas should be 7.9, how then do they discount the same gas for 1.72 for another company?
Well, let's see how this goes. The minority has indicated they will need some more time to be able to come to a conclusion on this issue. We'll definitely be following this, and we'll return to you, Mr. Boachi, for some more as we interrogate this issue. I'm grateful that you could join us. That's Ben Boachi, the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Let's look at illegal mining now. The Circuit Court Judge Samuel Bright Aqua is making a strong case for the judiciary to take a strong stance against illegal mining. Ruling on a bail application for Aisha Wang, Justice Aqua said the future of the nation is under threat. He indicated that the accused will therefore remain in police custody as investigations continue. Ms. Wang and 3 others are accused of engaging in illegal mining and engaging in the sale of minerals without a license. They are pleaded not guilty, but they remain in police custody. That's more on the following report by court correspondent Joseph Akable.
There are 2 cases pending against Aisha Wang at the courts, one filed by the Attorney General himself at the High Court and another by police prosecutors at the Circuit Court. The Circuit Court had on September 14 remanded all 4 accused persons to police custody. Lawyers for the accused made another application for bail on Tuesday. Lead counsel Efadate, who had earlier claimed the offences were not serious, continued in that regard.
The media has overhyped this small matter of mining without license and doing mineral sales without license. It's a small matter. It happens every day in Ghana. So I don't see why the media should even write an editorial on this matter.
He told the court not even the president, the attorney general, or any other person can fault the court should it grant bail. He questioned why investigators needed more than a month to investigate a simple matter. Prosecutors, however, stated that investigations have revealed that the accused persons entered the country illegally. This, they argued, was sufficient basis for one to conclude that a grant of bail is not necessary. The judge dismissed the bail request and proceeded to make the following comments.
This is an activity that is destroying our water bodies. Look at how it is destroying our forest. We, the humans, are complaining. The animals in the forest are suffering. It's very sad. If we should allow this to go on, Ghana Water Company Limited says they will soon shut down their machines. We will have to import water to drink. The courts and everyone must take a strong stance. A1 especially, how she entered the country. She can't even tell. If I grant her bail and tomorrow the case is called and she can't be found, what happens? The motion for bail is refused.
The case is back in court on October 12. For Joy News from the Circuit Court, my name is Joseph Akable.
Meanwhile, the Operation Halt team stormed 7 areas in the Ashanti region to stop illegal mining. Member of our security desk, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson, joins me via Zoom with some more detail on this operation. Mamiesi, first of all, contrary to information making the rounds that there were arrests, we're learning otherwise.
Indeed, Ernest, sources from the Ghana Armed Forces indicates that the Operation Halt team happened, the exercise by the Operation Halt team happened on Monday dawn, and that no miner was arrested. In fact, many of them fled the site at learning that the soldiers were coming, and so nobody was arrested at the time of the exercise, Ernest.
But which areas did the operation take place?
Indeed, the areas happened. The operation took place at River Ofing, in Tobroso, Achiase, Datanu, Tonto Krom, Koto Krom, Amansia South, and Echimam Punwa. In all these areas, 11 excavators were confiscated and handed over to the various assemblies and police stations. So 6 of these excavators were handed over to the Mansu Datanu police station. Another 2 were handed over to the Kotokom Town Council, and another 3 given to the Nyinehi DC's office. Meanwhile, 4 other excavators which couldn't be moved at the time of the confiscation were left there but immobilized. When I say immobilized, then that means that the center boards that operate these excavators were seized and so cannot be operationalized or moved in any way. Ernest.
Mamiesi, thank you very much for bringing us those details. And now you recall that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry made a declaration that no license had been issued for minerals prospecting in any forest reserve across the country. But Love News has uncovered an ongoing degradation of the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve at Semreboy in the Western region. Love News can confirm that large portions of the reserve, estimated at about 12 football fields, have already been destroyed. by mining linked to Akonta Mining Limited. The expose on the current destruction of the Tano Nimri and Apamprama Forest Reserve are part of a documentary by my colleague Erastus Sasaridonko. Here's an excerpt of Destruction for Gold.
On August 17th this year, the Minerals Commission in a press release stated that the Lands Minister has not issued any license for minerals prospecting in any forest reserve. The release, signed by Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Martin Aisi, referred to a letter by Akonta Mining Limited dated August 8, 2022, which was an application for an entry permit to enter the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve at Samreboy in the Western region. The release said the application must be processed, quote, subject to the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Directive on Mining in Forest Reserve. But even before the Lands Ministry would indicate publicly its position on the application, our checks indicate active mining in the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve. A visit to the forest revealed large portions of the reserve already mined and degraded. This drone footage taken few days ago shows active mining linked to Akonta Mining Limited under the protection of armed personnel. The forest reserve is being destroyed with impunity even at the time of airing this report.
We are here at this thing, Tonto Chrome. They hold duties and there are some policemen and media be here.
Despite Love News' expose on military personnel protecting miners in the Odaho section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve, security personnel are still providing protection for miners who are pillaging the reserve currently, as corroborated by the Mentiahene of Bekwai, Nana Kusi Frimpong Kotobre.
My district is Amansett Central. That is where I have my cocoa farm. In that area, there's a forest called Kobo Forest. The forest is guarded by soldiers as people mine inside the forest. I had a confrontation with the soldiers. They said they are on duty. What kind of duty is being held in the forest? Ministers and people in government are the ones protecting them. Because I can't hire military men, if I could, I would ask them to accompany me to the farm to weed.
Destruction for Gold is next on Hotline. You should watch out for it. This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Kojo Manu. Still to come, cases of COVID-19 and monkeypox increased in the last 2 weeks. Health authorities raise concern about the threat it poses to the sector.
And what is worrying is that as at about 2-3 weeks, we were just getting about 1 or 2 cases a day, and our active cases was 20 or 10. But within this space of 2 weeks, our cases have started rising. In fact, this is 288, but as at yesterday's data that I have, it's now 350 active cases.
Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, the Greater Accra region faces double threats of health threat as cases of COVID-19 and monkeypox are on the rise again. 4 months now, the number of active cases were on the decline. In the last 2 weeks, the region has seen a sharp increase in infections threatening to cripple the health industry. Michael Ashale has more on the following report.
In the last 2 months, cases of COVID-19 and monkeypox have been on a decline. That is changing again as health facilities in the Greater Accra region are recording more cases of the viruses. As of September 26, the number of monkeypox cases have doubled. 2 weeks earlier, the region had only 28 confirmed cases. Regional Health Director Dr. Charity Sapon says the situation is worrying. She was speaking at the half-year meeting organized by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council.
We started the year without any monkeypox, and then we got monkeypox. Between the first case that was recorded in May to September, we have in Greater Accra region alone, we have recorded 55 confirmed cases of monkeypox in the region, with only one day. Okay, not only, we are not expecting more, but with one dying. So there are 16 out of 29 districts confirmed cases. There is none in hospital, on hospital admission. They are all doing well in their homes. And 33% of these cases came from Accra Metro.
Also, the number of active COVID-19 cases have seen a sharp increase, with active cases crossing 300, most of which were recorded in the last 2 weeks.
But then what is worrying is that as at about 2-3 weeks, we were just getting about 1 or 2 cases a day, and our active cases was 20 or 10. But within this space of 2 weeks, our cases have started rising. In fact, this is 288, but as at yesterday's data that I have, it's now 350 active cases.
Meanwhile, uptake of COVID-19 vaccines have been slow, with nearly 50% of Accra's population not vaccinated. She was unhappy that areas like Adan West and its environs have the largest share of people who haven't taken a single dose of vaccine.
Only 37.5% of our eligible population are fully vaccinated. That is, they've taken the 4th dose and the booster dose. Only 37.5%. And it's very, very worrying, because you can see that about 48% of our population are still not vaccinated. And I don't understand why. When we look at the proportion of persons who are fully vaccinated, we can see where they are. Those in the red are Shaman, Katamanso, Bingo Pram Pram, Adan West, Adan East, Gan West, Gan South. Why are we still in red? Our people are refusing it. What can we do differently?
Vaccines have proven an effective way of reducing the number of people getting infected with COVID-19. She hopes the various districts will ramp up advocacy for individuals to get vaccinated. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Still on health, the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research in Tropical Medicines, KCCR, has recorded 0 positive cases of COVID-19 in the past 2 months. Virologist Dr. Michael Ozu says all samples screened at the center over the period came out negative. Obideshia Oforia Manfo has more in this report.
According to Dr. Michael Owusu, the country's COVID-19 vaccination rollout has played a vital role in ensuring the disease is controlled in the population. Dr. Owusu observed the virus has been suppressed to a level where it has lost the capacity to cause mass death and harm as it used to be.
Currently, for some time now, we have been testing since the president did the announcement. We have recorded 0 cases out of every 100. This is why you don't see all of us in mask. And the second point is that people have taken doses of vaccines, so they are fine. But it's not over because of the mutating nature of the virus.
On August 12, 2022, Ghana announced there had been no active cases of the Ebola-like Marburg virus following the recovery of the last infected person. Ghana confirmed the first case of the Marburg virus disease on July 4. 3 cases have since been reported, with 2 fatalities recorded. Dr. Michael Owusu cautioned, though the human-to-human transmission is concluded, Ghana should not be surprised if the virus recur after 1 or 2 years. He spoke at an outreach event organized by PIWC, Bompata branch in the Ashanti region.
Human-to-human transmission is off, and as we speak now, it cannot happen again. But the animal that introduced the virus, we don't know yet. It is possible that such animals are still in the communities, and at any point in time, they can be reintroduced back to the population. The transmission will start. But as we speak now, human-to-human transmission is concluded, and we don't have any case in Ghana.
The program was on the theme No Jesus, No Life. Resident Minister of Bompata PIWC, Pastor Joshua Kwabena Donko, asked for prayers for leaders of the country to act responsibly to change the economic woes facing the country.
It's only in Jesus that we can have life. It's only in Jesus that we can have a better life. Therefore, we can only pray for our leaders, that God will raise leaders who have the heart and the mind of God. And if we do that, I believe that as we work hard and we trust in God, God who created the world will actually change our situation, change our economy, and change our life.
Reporting for Joy News, Obideshie Ofori Amanfo.
I'll take you to the Northeast region. One person has been injured after armed men suspected to be land guards reportedly opened fire on a group of residents protesting over the takeover of land by private individuals. Now, the linguist of the Gambaga chief, Bukari Alore, confirmed to Joy News that the residents were on their way to the disputed area when the armed men ambushed them. He said the injured person has been rushed to the Baptist Medical Center in Nalerigu. The police say a team has been deployed to deal with the situation. Let's go on to the phone and speak to the linguist, Bukari Alore. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. The person who was injured, has he been identified, and what's his state as we speak? Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you could join us. Can you tell us about this individual who was injured? How is he faring currently?
Yes, please.
Mr. Alore, you'd have to listen to me on the phone. If you listen to me on the TV, there's a delay. And so,
that's okay.
So just listen to me on the phone. I want to find out from you what the status of the person who was injured is as we speak. For now, his case is stable. Right. And what about the residents? I mean, they were headed, per the reports that we have, to the disputed area when this happened. What has happened to them in terms of their safety?
Come again.
What can you tell us about the safety in the area?
The state.
The security situation in the area, do we have police on the ground?
For now, I can't talk so much, but I think that there are some patrols within the town.
Right. We'll leave it here. Thank you very much. That's a linguist for Gambaga Chief. And we'll go to Ilyasu Tanko, who is our correspondent, who has been following this story for us. He joins us via Zoom. Ilyasu, thank you very much. Ilyasu, what more can you report about the situation there? From what we're hearing from the linguist, we have some police patrols already on the ground.
Yes, Derek. That's it. The police are currently patrolling the community. And we also have the armed men who raided the township. We understand they are still present in the town. And the police are like I said, are stationed currently in the township and patrolling the community. So yes, there's security presence in the Gambaga township as we speak.
This disputed area, is it the area that went into contention as a result of the the creation of the regions? Is that the same area we are talking about?
Well, this particular issue goes back so many years. We understand that this particular land was granted to for the construction of the Gambaga witch camp, and a private developer who is also a resident of the township is also laying claim to this plot of land. So last year, he started developing this particular land, and tension broke out. The residents marched to this particular disputed land and destroyed the properties that were on this particular land. The issue was taken to court, and as we speak, the issue is still at the Tamale High Court. We understand the High Court placed injunction on this particular land, restricting both parties from going on with this particular disputed land. Right. But quite recently, according to the residents, this particular individual has come back on the land and has started putting up structures on this particular land. So that angered them, and today they decided to march to this particular land to show their anger or their displeasure. And that is when the armed men that ambushed them. As we speak, one person has been shot and receiving treatment at the Baptist Medical Center.
Do we have information on who this private individual is?
Well, his name has been given as Tanko Balewa. We understand he's a very important person, or a very popular person, as you see, in this particular township. And like I said, he claims that this particular plot of land was given to him by his dad, and he keeps saying that it belongs to him. And despite the injunction by the court, he has started putting up some structures, and this has sparked attention in the town.
Ilyasu, thank you very much for bringing us the update. Time now for our Living Standard series, and spare part businesses are now suffering as sales hit an all-time low in this year. Dealers who rely hugely on the dollar to import products are struggling to get it. Others who eventually get the currency are hit by inflation, which affects prices carrying off customers. The Living Standard series crew went back to Abosokan, where things have moved from bad to worse. That's our show tonight. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories on myjoyonline.com. Beverly standing by with business. Please stay.